Good afternoon, congregation. It's your boy D Mac. So let's talk. Um, I wanted to come back on today and just go over leadership and specifically poor leadership because I've been watching the news and what's been going on in Haiti and now what we see going on in South Africa with the last president, Jacob Zuma, who's been jailed. I see a breakdown in leadership all the way across the world. It's not just in specific areas, but if I look at the world leaders who are on the global stage right now, all of these guys suffer from poor leadership. And I'm going to give a few examples of who I'm talking about, and then I'm going to expound on that. So, going into this, first, I want to say that I understand being a leader is a very hard job. It's a very demanding job, and the decisions that you have to make are very heavy decisions, and it affects a whole lot of people. So I want to put that out there first, that I have that understanding before I start to go in on this. But over the years, we've seen a deterioration in leadership qualities and leadership skills in leaders around the world. Now, we may not have agreed with the old leaders and how they did some things, but we can agree that they were leaders. Most of them were charismatic. I'm talking about the Saddam Husseins and the Osama bin Ladens and the Muammar Gaddafis and the Idi Amins and all of these guys like this who were considered bad people and seen in a bad light. They were still leaders, and they were able to rally the people, and they were able to keep a group of people together for one common cause. This is something that they were great at despite their character issues. And so this is missing in today's so-called leaders. I don't see them as leaders. I see them as glorified bosses because that's what they really are. A leader and a boss are two totally different things. And what we're seeing in today's society now is a bunch of bosses trying to lead. And so I want to start off talking about one particular person. He was our previous president, our 45th president, Mr. Donald Trump. And if there's any Donald Trump supporters out there, no disrespect, he's not the only person that I'm going to speak about today, but he is one of those people that's on my list for poor leadership because he displayed absolute poor leadership during his entire term. And we've all seen it. We're seeing it unravel now on our news and in the government as these January 6th investigations come down. And that's just one of the many things that he did that was wrong. If you notice, everybody that Donald Trump put around him, they either went to jail or they're flipping on him. That says a lot about the type of leadership that he brought to the table. Because a good leader is going to surround himself with people that are smarter than him and that are more capable of doing the job than him, so that he would be able to lean on those people during the time when he's at a loss. That's what a good leader does. He surrounds himself with strong people that makes him stronger. But Donald Trump, because of his ego and because of his issues, he could not do that because he always had to be the smartest person in the room, whether he really was or not. And this is something that hurt our country. It hurt our entire country. And he's not the only person because Joe Biden is still to be determined. I want to give him some more time before I really give a thorough analysis of Mr. Biden. But as vice president, we know that he was pretty much non-existent because all of the attention was on the Barack and all of that. So um, Joe Biden, he still has his issues because, like I said, that crime bill back in the 90s really set us back as a people. And if he were a real leader, he would accept responsibility for that, admit that he made a mistake, and work hard to correct that. So that's one thing I can say about Joe Biden and his lack of leadership. I'm going to move on to Jovenel Moise. Rest in peace, sir. And this is no disrespect to you, but Jovenel Moise, we all know as the story unfolds more and more that he was involved in a lot of things that weren't conducive to the betterment of Haiti. And he stole well, he didn't steal the election. He was the interim president, but he failed to hold an election that would be the democratic thing to do in their country. And he pretty much just took the position of president of Haiti. And in doing so, this caused a lot of upheaval and it caused a lot of discontent among the people. And you see the end result. And that's not the only thing that he did, because he was accused of doing a lot of other corrupt things within Haiti. And somebody felt like he needed to be taken out. And unfortunately, that did take place. And once again, rest in peace to him and prayers out to his wife. But whenever people get tired of being oppressed, whenever people get tired of being given the short end of the stick when they're the backbone of the whole entire country, they're going to speak up. They're not just going to stay docile and quiet and passive. At some point, there's going to be a voice in the wilderness that's going to cry out, and the people will hear it, and they're going to respond with that voice. And all it takes is one strong voice who's not afraid. And that's what's taking place. And so now you see we have upheaval, we have riots, we have looting, all of these things going through Haiti right now because of the actions of their poor leader. And the next I would talk about, I mentioned earlier, was South Africa is going through their thing right now. They're having riots in the streets because former President Jacob Zuma has been arrested and jailed. And the thing with Jacob Zuma that really gets me is that, he was trying to do deals with Russia and trying to secure certain deals with Russia that would have eventually bankrupted their country. It would have bankrupted them. And this was stated by the Secretary of Finance or something like that over there, but he was still trying to make this happen. And there were some other things that Jacob Zuma was involved in that the people were not okay with, and the government was not okay with, and they forced him to turn himself in this week. And you have this side who supported Jacob Zuma. Then you have the other side who did not support Jacob Zuma and was trying to get him ousted, and they finally clashed. But if Jacob Zuma would have been a transparent president and wouldn't have followed in the footsteps of previous leaders, then there would be a different story. You're always going to have some pushback. You're never going to be able to satisfy both sides. I understand that. But if you're fair, and if you try to be fair and decent in all things and you're transparent about it, the people will respect that. So that's where Jacob Zuma made his poor decision. And now you see the country is in an upheaval because of it. Mr. Vladimir Putin, we understand that Vladimir Putin is a very, very aloof person. He's really good at dodging stuff. He's really good at manipulation, and he's a master manipulator, and hats off to him for it, but he's still a poor leader because his leadership is that of an entitled person. He's made it to where no one can challenge him for power in Russia. And so he's going to be the dictator of Russia until he passes. So whenever a person have a sense of entitlement, this is what they do. They want to not ever be challenged by anybody because they feel like they deserve the position that they're in. That's that entitlement that goes to them. That's also the same thing that Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un, they feel that sense of entitlement as well. They share that with Vladimir Putin, and it's shown constantly in all of the self-indulgent things, and the praise that they desire from their people is worship. It's idol worship. but they desire that because they feel like they are gods within themselves. And so, you know, the last person I'm going to mention on this list, he was just replaced as the prime minister of Israel, and that's Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, for years and years, have been instrumental in causing so much rift in the Middle East. And he was just recently ousted because of a bombing that he did on the Gaza Strip, and it was just crazy. It was really unnecessary, and Netanyahu, he makes money off of war. And so he's going to encourage these battles. He's going to continue to stoke the fire because he knew that he had the backing of the United States, and he always got a stipend from the United States to go towards his war efforts. And so he was making a lucrative business out of war. And Netanyahu had to go, and I'm glad that he finally did. That's just my personal opinion. But these are some leaders who have taken us into a place of um, our infrastructure is failing. It is failing at an alarming rate, and we have a collapse of industries because the leadership is not there. Now, let me give you my thoughts on why leadership is failing. I came to this conclusion because of the Boys and Girls Club. I recently did a video about the Boys and Girls Club, and it started me to thinking because back in the day of the Boys and Girls Club, everybody got a trophy. Whether you were good or not, if you sat on the bench the whole entire year, you still got a trophy, a participation trophy to give you confidence, to make you not feel left out when other people are getting trophies for their achievements. So I understand that as a child, you don't want to discourage them and make them feel less than. Okay, got it. But a lot of these people nowadays are going through their entire life getting participation trophies in the form of jobs that they don't qualify for, and in the form of being placed in positions of power that they can't handle. And this is what is destroying our infrastructure. This is the collapse of our country and our government. You look at the congressional hearings. They're in there going like little kids, worse than little kids. Little kids have more conflict resolution than these people in Congress and Senate. And it's embarrassing to watch. But you're watching a group of people who have been given participation trophies all of their life, and it developed a sense of entitlement in them to where they feel like they deserve something and they're entitled to tell people what to do, when in actuality they were never qualified because their credentials were bought by their parents, and they got the job from their buddy, from their frat brother, and things like this. These are the reasons why our infrastructure is crumbling. These are the reasons why our industries are collapsing in the United States, and no one is willing to go back to work because of this sense of entitlement that has been built up. And they feel they're entitled to a stimulus check every month, and they feel they're entitled to sit around and not do nothing and get paid. And that's why these businesses are failing now, because they can't get employees to come in and work because of the sense of entitlement that's been developed in them. This is where our country's at. This is where our world's at, because each one of our nations has a leader who is suffering from entitlement issues and participation trophies. So let's stop giving these participation trophies out to grown-ups. It's okay for the kids, strictly for the kids in Boys and Girls Club. But once they get past that and they understand that they have to strive for achievements and they have to strive for excellence and perfection in what they do, no more participation trophies. And they have to earn everything from that point so that they can understand what it is to earn something and to really be qualified to be named something. Because with all of these people who are not qualified in their areas, the people are going to suffer. We'll continually suffer because of this. I just wanted to put this out here and give us an idea of what's going on in this world and what type of leadership we're looking at, so that we don't pattern ourselves after this, because this is not what a leader is. Okay. Um, that's pretty much all that I have on this. And I hope somebody took something away from this. And if you're in a leadership position, please lead by example. And please don't be out there trying to put people down to lift yourself up. That's not a leader at all. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I thank you, congregation, for tuning in. This is your boy D Mac. Hey, sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word will always heal you. I'm out.